Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Peace, God. Today we're going to share with you Surah 8 of the Holy Qur'an, our Anfal, our voluntary gifts, are the spoils of war. The spoils of war must not spoil us. Let us begin with a brief prayer. In the most holy name of the Supreme Allah God, who appeared in the person of the Master Fard Muhammad. His is the name of Almighty God Allah, whom we praise. And in the name of his first, last, and only messenger, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. Let us bring our actions up to par with our thinking, and show and prove that Messenger Elijah Muhammad's teachings are all wise, right, and exact, or die in the very attempt. Amen. I would like to share with you a couple of verses from Surah or chapter 8 of the Holy Quran regarding the battle of Badr and the spoils of war. Many years ago, I wrote a FYMGT military manual titled, "The Spoils of War Must Not Spoil Us." Let me give you some verses from the Quran directly with a little elaboration, if you would permit me. Section 1 of the Holy Quran, chapter 8, verse 1 reads, "They ask thee about voluntary gifts. Say, voluntary gifts are for Allah and the Messenger. So keep your duty to Allah and set aright your differences, and obey Allah and his Messenger if you are believers. They only are believers whose hearts are full of fear when the law is mentioned, and when his messages are recited to them, they increase them in faith, and in their Lord do they trust." As a young man, I was about, I would say around 12 to 13 years of age at the time. We used to live on 16th and Westmoreland Street in North Philadelphia. And without going into detail, my mother at that time had 4 children. So back then, this was like the 70s. The city of Philadelphia had what they called dollar houses. So women that were on welfare, my mother was on welfare, they would give them a house for $1. And we received a 3-story, in my opinion, nice, clean, decent house. You know what I mean? Back then. I went by there about 5 years ago, and the neighborhood is completely destroyed basically. But back then it was real nice. You know what I mean? It definitely was nice. I don't even recall us locking our front door. You know what I mean? So we had a 1st story, 2nd story, and 3rd story. That's the type of houses on 16th and Westmoreland Avenue. My mother at that time, Rosa Parks, what she did was she rented out the 3rd floor. Okay? And we had on the 3rd floor a MGT sister named Paula with 2 sons, John and Jeffrey. And they was like my little brothers. I basically used to babysit them for free, really. You know what I mean? She would always offer money, whatever, but they was like family, you know what I mean? And she was light-skinned, beautiful sister. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful sister, like a model type thing. But she had a dark-skinned brother, real serious brother, that was her twin, named Paul. So you had Paul and you had Paula. Now Paul lived a few doors down from us at the time. And Paul liked the way I moved on the streets, basically. I had my little knucklehead crew, and I always was an effective leader, you know what I mean, by nature. And he basically brought me in and gave me a job. My job was to take the trash from the 3rd floor outside and put the trash out. I believe it was every Thursday night. And he would pay me $75. Now back then, $75 for a 12, 13-year-old kid was a lot of money. My mom would extort me. She'd basically take the money, just give me a little money for my sneaks and little clothes and go to movies or whatever. And things was pretty good with that, you know what I mean? But then one day I was on the 2nd floor and looking out the window, and after I took the trash out, I seen a car pull up and take the trash that I set on the side of the curb. And that was weird to me, you know what I mean? And me being an inquisitive kid that I was, the next Thursday I put the trash out, I was looking again. And sure enough, the same thing happened. And the next week, I looked in that trash. And it was something in that trash that I'm not going to get into. I mean, you know, snitches get stitches in Philly. I mean, and the brothers ain't no joke. But I seen that I was making moves that was really worth more than $75. Now, I was a young boy, but I wasn't stupid by a long shot. So I got with him and was like, listen, man, you got me doing this, that, and the other. I deserve this, that, and the other. And he respected that, you know what I mean? And, you know, me and him became good friends. So I was working for the fruit when I was a mentally dead. You know what I mean? This is how I grew up. And one of the things that he explained to me one day was, when I seen him with a bunch of money on the table. I don't know how much it was, but to me it was a bunch of money. You know what I mean? In my mind it was millions. It probably would have been like 100,000. I mean, but to me it was millions. And he explained to me, he said, nah, young buck, before I pay you, we gotta set the spoils of war up. And I was like, the spoils? What's the spoils of war? He said, Bella, any money that you don't work for, 1/5 of that, 20% of that, goes to the people. Never forget that lesson. You know what I mean? And I was like, what you mean it goes to the people? He said, say you out in the street hustling and you made $100. You're obligated to give away $20 to the poor and the needy in the hood. You're not giving them something that they asking for. You're giving them what they already deserve. So that was weird, but I respect my old heads, so I live by that principle. So when we used to hustle, I mean, you know, when we eventually years later, I moved down 12th and Nedro, and we was living at 5853 North 12th Street. And my old head was the FOI Yaya, Johnny Bird, and his son, Johnny Bird Jr., eventually took over that section of the city, Borden Alley, you know what I mean? But thoughts of peace be upon him. He eventually got murdered in the hustle gang. But his father had opened up his own bar, his own store across the street from. We lived at 5853 North 12th Street, Philadelphia, PA 19141. Directly across the street, he opened up a 3-story building. It was a store downstairs and 2 apartments upstairs. We rented them out to some Puerto Rican sisters. And he had a big garage, and me and my little sister Naima, we used to work at the laundromat on the corner for her godmother, Mrs. Pendleton. And I also worked for a Jewish old man across the street. On top of the garages and on top of the laundromat was an apartment building owned by a Jewish man. And he had furnished apartments. And I used to help him do the roofing and, you know, painting, whatever. So I'm like 14 at the time. So I'm working for Johnny Bird. I'm the manager of his store. I got keys to the store. I do the stock inventory, go with him down Borden, Wyoming to the wholesaler. Now I mean, see him get 24 cans of corn for like $4, and he's selling the crap for like 69 cents. You know what I mean? I'm with him when he go down to the bread truck company and get a abandoned van that don't even work. And I'm like, what you gonna do with this raggedy van? He said, watch this, young boy. He hauled the crap back to the store. At this time, he opened up another store like 2 blocks down from 12th Street on 13th and Parkside Avenue. So I'm working at 12th and Nidro, 13th and Parkside. I'm working at the laundromat with my sister on weekends, and I'm working with the Jewish guy, helping him refab furnished apartments across the street from my house. All this is directly across from 12th and Nidro, 35th District in Philadelphia, who hated my guts, you know what I mean? But we eventually start making some serious money with his little businesses. Eventually, while I'm sitting in the store working, I'm like 14, FBI run up in the joint. You know what I mean? Get on the floor. We get on the floor. Now at that time, you know, for security, we had the 45 on a clip underneath the counter, so somebody come try to rob the store. He explained to me, listen, you can't kill them outside, but they come in here and take this paper, blast them. So I knew how to blast that 45, that joint, you know what I mean, kick to the left, all that kind of stuff, you know. But eventually the feds came and they basically grabbed Yah on a, basically they were saying he was counterfeiting food stamps. We denied all that crap. He did a little time, came back home. Everything's still rolling. His beloved wife, Miss Lena, she was a Jehovah's Witness, a real righteous, pious, extremely religious woman that wear her mink coats, her jewelry, and you know, she's, you know, at the time, you know, everybody know me as Isha, the end of the prayers, Asha, Ace Money, whatever. So she was like, you know, you gotta come to the Kingdom Hall, boo, bang. And I'm like, I ain't really into God like that. Not no mystery God. You know what I mean? I was more about that paper. Let's do this business stuff. So I ran the business. I mopped the floors. I helped build the shelves. I helped physically build the floor. And when he got the building on 12th Street, for example, there was no physical floor there at all. You step in there, you fall in the basement. We got the plyboard and nailed that stuff on there and built the shelves. We ain't had no license. We run in the store with no license, none of that. For a couple of years making paper, we got a cigar box as the cash register. Eventually some white guy come in there peeping like, yo, what is y'all doing? Y'all can't do this. So he hit us with all the paperwork. So we had to take the closet, turn it into a little bathroom, move the sink away from the deep fryers. That grease that comes from the deep fryers is a deep science, and Lice L and I, they real strict about cooking grease. You know what I mean? That stuff is toxic, so we had to keep that cleaned. And you know what I mean? So as a kid, I learned a lot of business jewels from my old head, Yaya. Peace and blessings into Yaya. You know what I mean? And they eventually had the feds run up in there with the counterfeit stuff. They like, y'all got the counterfeit place. Because of Yaya, there is no more food stamps. Back when I was growing up, we literally, like the store, J&B Variety Store on 13th and Parkside Avenue, we had our own money. So if you come in the store with a $5 food stamp, you buy something for $4.25, I wouldn't give you 3 quarters or 75 cents in change. I give you 3 plastic coins. On the front of the coin, it'll say 75 cents or 50 cents, and I give you a 25-cent coin. They was like pink and blue, different colors for the amounts. But on the other side of the coin, it'll say like J&B Variety Store. So you couldn't spend that money at no other store but our store. You know what I mean? So he taught me how fiat money operates. You know what I mean? And, you know, we used to put the money inside the bag, had to zip it up, lock it up, take it to the bank on Broad Downey. You know what I mean? Eventually the police came at me about that because they were saying that we was like putting net bags inside the safety deposit box so that when people throw that money in the vault, it go into the bag, and we allegedly supposed to come back without. That's back when we had the leather bombers with the big hoodies strapped all up and you could see our face. And they had me on video saying, we see you going in the joint, taking $1,000 out the bag, pull the bag out. When we go inspect the bank, the money missing, and we trying to figure out how's this missing. You know what I mean? So the 35th district hated my guts. I stole their motorcycles, all kind of stuff. That dirt bikes, mini bikes. Everybody in the hood had bikes. Anybody that know Ace Money from down 12th Street, they tell you that. Back around 1982, 81, 82, we had all the bikes in the city. You know what I mean? And that was because I had a little, I had a moped, and the police took my moped. I crashed the bike. They locked me up to take my bike. So I'm pissed. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. My knees all scraped up. I got burning sores on me. Face all scraped all up. You know what I mean? And they dumped me out like 3 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean? So I'm like, yo, I got to get my bike. You know what I mean? I wasn't scared of no police. So I went across the street from 35th District. They had a old used car dealership over there, but they painted the windows so you couldn't see in there. So I'm like, yo, I remember when they locked me up, they asked me, which ones do with the bike, sir? He said, take it across the street to the pound. So I was like, okay, my bike is across the street to this pound. So I went across the street, boom. You know what I mean? They got the old, retired K9 dog. Woo, 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 woo. He's neither here nor there. Old crashed up cop car. Climb over the gate, jump in the joint, boom. Get inside the garage. My bike is tore up. So I see all these other bikes. I see this little Benelli, little small dirt bikes. I'm like, oh, I could toss this over the gate. So I siphon the gas, get some oil, spark that joint, drop it over the joint, climb over, boom. So I got a little dirt bike. So I peel off, go see my homie Misha, you know what I mean, down 12th Street. So like, damn, when you get the new bike? I'm like, listen, man, it's a whole bunch of joints. It's like Hell's Angel bikes in this joints. You know what I mean? It's like dirt bikes, go-karts, mini, you name everything is in this impound. So we shoot back up this joint, cut through the gate, bikes missing. Police trying to kill us about these bikes. Our dumb behind don't realize that the back of impounded motor vehicles, they painted with a serial number and some type of fingernail polish. When you look at it, it just look like a rainbow painting. But if a cop car or a car light hit it, you can see the serial number on the joint. We don't know that. So we riding around on these hot bikes. Police just jumping out, busting upside their head, beating our shins with guns, all that kind of stuff, taking the bikes. So they like, it's crazy. It's a crazy time. So I'm like, let me get rid of these bikes. So I trade my bikes off for like jewelry, DJ equipment, whatever. I'm just getting rid of the crap. Sell them dirt cheap. You know what I mean? Because the police, they catch you on the bike, you might get murdered. You know what I mean? So Johnny Bird is on the tip like, Ash, listen. You know what I mean? You know, he one of the boys that do a little that, you know what I mean? But he like, listen, Ash, I need you to do me a favor, woo, man. I'm like, what's up, man? He's like, listen, I got all these food stamps, woo, bang. Long story short, you know what I mean? My mom, rest in peace, Rosa Parks. I'm coming home with the, I used to take soda box. You know how you get a case of sodas, like the box, that's half a box. I used to take a soda box and just stack it with food stamps and put a lid on that joint, sit it out in the trash, take that home to my mom. So my mom got like all these food stamps. She's selling food stamps. I mean, look, I got $100 for $50 or whatever. So this is how I grew up in North Philly. You know what I mean? And, you know, in all of that, Yaya explained to me. He came home one day. He had got the first Seville in that neighborhood. He came home one day and his car was shot up. And it was a nice car. So I'm like, yo, what happened to your car? I see bullet holes all up in your joint. He's like, listen, man, I messed up. I was like, what you mean? He's like, I didn't pay the piper. I mean, he's like, I was out of pocket. I want you to understand, when you get paper, you have to give back to the hood. You know what I mean? He's like, if you don't give back to the hood, you don't have to worry about the police. You got to worry about the hood, where you live at, where you lay your head at. You know what I mean? Now, if you look out for the hood, you ain't got to worry about the devil. You ain't got to worry about the 10%. You ain't got to worry about 5-0. You ain't got to worry about the C-Cypher power on the cops. You know what I mean? And I took that to heart, you know what I mean, how he was moving. You know what I mean? It literally saved his life, you know. And shout out to my elder, Harvey, who worked in the store. with me. He was in Vietnam with Johnny Bird, and he saved his life in the war. He was an alcoholic, but Johnny Bird used to always tell me, listen, whatever you do, don't let Harvey drink. So I'm like, all right. He said, I'm telling you, don't let him drink. All right, you the boss, I got you. As soon as he walk out the door, all right, what you want? Go down to the speeds, tell her to give me a jar of that, that vodka. I shoot right down to the sis, boom, hard one, move, bang. Yeah. And the reason I used to do that, Johnny didn't understand, if Harv did not have his drink, he was a miserable, evil dude. He'd curse the kids out. Kids go, can I get 3 squirrel nuts? 2, like, shut up, y'all making too much. They playing Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, screaming. You're like, y'all making too much. But if I get Harv his drink, and them kids coming in looking for some candy and all that, you're like, oh, look at, she's so cute. What you want, darling? Oh, can I get 5? I'm gonna give you 8. I mean, that was his chill juice. You know what I mean? So, you know, he was an alcoholic, but he was a good dude. You know what I mean? A real thorough old head, dressed crazy as hell. White cowboy hat, lime green shirts, striped pants, yellow shoes. That's the kind of pink socks. That's the kind of stuff he would wear. You know what I mean? And I don't even know if he's still alive. He was kind of old back then, so I doubt if he's alive. But he always lived in me. I learned a lot from this elder also. You know what I mean? You know, so Johnny Bird told me one day he had a little small noble Qur'an. He used to snort his coke and all that, but he was Muslim. And one thing about those Muslims back then, no matter what dirt they did, they loved the law. They loved his messenger. They believed in prayer. You know what I mean? You know, so one thing I give him, he was Muslim. His wife was Jehovah's Witness. Her thing was the Kingdom Hall. You know, she'd get the kids candy if they come to, you know, Bible studies and all that stuff. I never went too hard-headed at the time. You know what I mean? But years later, I start reading the Wake and watch that. I love Jehovah's Witness teachings to this day. You know what I mean? They really know how to break that Bible down. So, you know, Judge Rutherford and the white power structure, I always had a problem with that. But as far as the teachings of that Bible, they definitely, to me, was better than the Protestants or the Christians and Baptists. You know what I mean? They knew that Bible. They wasn't with holidays, Christmas, Easter. Back then, they didn't eat pork. Nowadays, a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses eat pork. Back then, they would, Miss Lena, she ain't play that swine stuff. In that store, you couldn't come get a can of Spam. They did not sell pork. They served turkey bacon. I mean, you could get a turkey hoagie. You can't get Italian hoagie in Yaya's store. He ain't play that. You know what I mean? You know, but he had the little noble Quran. And I was mentally dead, really. But he shared with me chapter 8 of the Holy Quran, the spoils of war. And he explained to me, he's like, Ash, any money you get that you didn't have to work in the store for, you have to give 20 cents off a dollar to the poor people in the streets. If you see a homeless dude, give him 20% of that money. If you see a needed person, give him 20% of that money. Now, I need y'all to understand, Yaya to me was like a black Jew. This dude was like super stingy. You know what I mean? You know, my pay wasn't all that, but the information was rich. You know what I mean? The experience was rich. I learned business from that Jewish white guy. I learned business from Miss Pendleton. You know what I mean? Shout out to her gorgeous daughters, you know, Tracy Wesley, my little sister, Nene, my homie, Stevie. You know what I mean? It was like fair. That was my sister's godmother. My sister Naima's godmother. You know what I mean? So when she never locks her door. They was like a super duper Christian family. I have so many memories with them, but the one that I remember in my mind that sticks out right now is I was like anti that mystery God, but I went to Geno's got some chicken. It start pouring down rain. It's thunder. Dude. So I'm running with the chicken. So I runs to her crib. She never locks the door. I don't need permission to come in. It's, you know, it's like my house. So I come in. Boom. As soon as you come to the festival, she got like a Christian piano in there where they play the gospel music. So when I come in, it's dark. So I turn the light switch on. She like, turn that light off. What is you doing? So I'm like, yo, I turn the light off real quick. Like, what's up? You know what I mean? She's like, bro, don't turn that light on. You know what I mean? God to strike this house, ooh, man. So I'm like, what? I'm like, Miss Pendleton, you're the most Christian woman, you know what I mean, I know. You know what I mean? God is not going to strike your house. They might strike my house. God might strike me. You know what I mean? Not crazy, evil behind. But he definitely ain't going to strike your church going, Bible toting, you know what I mean? She might drink a little something, but she was a real good woman, you know what I mean? And she paid me for taking care of that laundromat. On 12th and Nidro, and she had a separate one. She was managing down 5th and Lenny. So me and my little sister, we had to shoot down there, clean them drawings out. We had to clean out the washers and the trash and mop the floors and all that. Just set it up for the next day, basically. So we took care of them 2 laundromats, you know what I mean? And she was like the manager. Instead of her doing the work, she just broke us off and we did the work. You know what I mean? Win-win situation. But it made me realize that God was not a mystery. You know what I mean? Like, I could not understand why they had to turn the lights off. My thing was, if God's going to strike you, you turn the lights off, he's still going to strike you. So what you do? Once you're dead, you're dead. If he wanted to strike me when I'm running, oh, you can't run in a thunderstorm, God to strike you. I'm like, I mean, I couldn't argue back because I wasn't really in the Bible, the Qur'an, or the Nation of Islam, and none of that. So I'm more like life and experiences. Know what I mean, like the hood. Know what I mean, so I'm surviving off my wits. I'm surviving off these streets. But Yahya was the one that showed me the Noble Qur'an, Surah 8, and in it, it teaches this. Okay. Now this is a law in Islam about the 20% that FOIs and MDTs are violating, that conscious people, Muslims, Sunnis, what have you, are violating, and what ultimately led to the destruction of the Nation of Islam. Now, it reads in, this is chapter 8, verse number 41. And know that whatever you acquire in war, a fifth of it, a fifth is like 20%, 40%, 60%, 80%, 100%. So 1/5 is 20% or 20 cents off of every dollar that you get that you did not have to work for. You got it hustling on the streets. You inherited from your great-great-grandfather. You found some money. You hit the lottery. If you got $100 million, you're supposed to donate $20 million to a lost cause. That goes to the people. Not because you're being nice. Let me reread this. And know that whatever you acquire in war, that's the spoils of war, a fifth of it is for Allah and for the messenger and for the near of kin. So this 20 cents off of a dollar is supposed to go to the messenger, in this day and time, Farrakhan, the minister, their family, basically. This realistically how it go. To help push the nation forward. You have to have what Master Fard Muhammad and Messenger Elijah Muhammad referred to as the New World Treasury of Islam. Every nation needs a treasury, an economic system, okay? And know that whatever you acquire in war, a fifth of it is for Allah and for the messenger and for the near of kin and the orphans and the needy That's the homeless people you see in the hood, the dope fiends, the crackheads, the drunks, the homeless, sleeping in tents and all that. 20% of that money supposed to be used to help them to help themselves, okay? And for the wayfarer, that's travelers, I mean the prison brothers and sisters in the penitentiary, they need financial help. They need books, they need money for commissary. Now, I mean, people think that when you go to jail, it's free. It's not free in jail. I would say from experience, prison is more expensive than the streets, hypothetically. Say you went to SCI Greatest for, you went to the penitentiary in 1983, 84, 85, 86, 87, 80. I was there forever, growing up as a kid there. But say you was in the penitentiary. On average, you get, say, $16 a month idle pay. If you go to sick call, you had to pay $2 in healthcare costs. You had to pay like $1 or $2 for each item you receive. So say you, I'm just using this hypothetically because I experienced it. Say I went to sick call because I had the flu. And the doctor's like, okay, I'm going to give you some cold tablets. I'm going to give you some cough syrup. And that's it. I got cold tablets, $2. Cough syrup, $2. I had to sign up for sick call, $4. So let's say your low bar, $2. So out of my $15, $6, almost 1/3 of my paycheck went to my medical bill. Now, if I have to go get my teeth cleaned or get a tooth filling, I have to sign up for sick call. That's another bill. If I want to see TV, people be like, no, in jail you gotta pay the electric bill. If you don't have cable, the TV don't work. You gotta pay for your cable. They be like, back in the day, the cheap side, it was like $15 a month. You're getting $16 a month. 98% of your money is just your cable bill by itself. You know what I mean? So in prison, inmates is broke. Prisoners know how to hustle. They start their own little store. You know what I mean? They get money put on their books. They make it happen by any means necessary. They make it happen. You know what I mean? You know, the fruit back in, this is like 1987. I never forget it. We broke it and broke. We ain't got no money. Everybody leaking. I mean, we're living and scraping off of like $15, $16 a month. Me being me, I call a cipher to the Supreme Angels. I remember Rashid there, Taqui there. You know what I mean? We got Nasheed is there. We got our ciphers. I explain to them, listen, everybody hurting right now. But in unity, we can accomplish much. You know what I mean? So as opposed to us getting our little $15, $16 every month and it's going straight to bills and we just broke into the next month living paycheck to paycheck, ain't nothing spooky with me. Y'all want to make things happen? Y'all want to take over the whole jail? They're like, yeah, let's make it happen. I love them non-spooky fruit. I mean, so we put our little money in the pot. Long story short, we took over the jail. I mean, we took over the whole jail. Anybody who was up Rockview Penitentiary in 1987 be like, yeah, those Supreme Angels ran the jail. Aryan Nation, Sunnis, gangsters, JBM, whatever. The fruit ran the jail. In all humility. But they didn't understand it was because we was using the principles of the Holy Qur'an. See, Prophet Muhammad, when it came to them caravans, you know what I mean? Prophet Muhammad wasn't a spooky prophet. He was a man that if he was living in this day and time, they would show him on the news saying, Prophet Muhammad and his Muslims just raided an armored truck. That's what a caravan was. It was an armored truck. It was like a train robbery. Prophet Muhammad carried the sword. In this day and time, they got 9s, 40 cows, Glocks, AK-47, and that's, you know what I mean, whatever. But he was able to understand that ain't no mystery of law going to pay these bills. Ain't no mystery God going to send manna from heaven. He's like, put your faith in the law subhanahu wa ta'ala, but tie your camel up. It ain't nothing spooky with Prophet Muhammad. Thoughts of peace be upon the last prophet of Allah, the Khatim Nabi. You know what I mean? So his revelation is true, right and exact. Our interpretations is spooky. You know what I mean? Our cowardism is a hindrance. Message to the Black Man in America, 1965. Messenger Elijah Muhammad teach us in this book right here. Do I have Message to the Black Man up here anywhere? Yes, I do. In this book right here, the messenger said, and I quote him, "This message is not for the cowards. If you were soldiering with us, you wouldn't soldier with us." We had a lot of FOIs that would not come near us because they were scared to death of the devil. And the devil was scared to death of us. That's how we was moving. So we established this principle and we enforced this principle. And I'm the type of guy, like, you know, I'm a prolific writer, so I wrote like, I would say probably like 20 military books. You know what I mean? FYMGT security manuals, the FYMGT militia manual, Supreme Manual security manuals, you name it. You know what I mean? Anything to protect us and get us to be survivors and to be dominant in the arena where there's lions and tigers and bears, like it's killers all around. It's nothing around us but murderers, rapists, drug dealers, gangsters, mafia. We ran all like the FOI. You know what I mean? Because we did not believe in a mystery God. You know what I mean? We didn't believe in no mystery God. I see fruit in the yard. I'm the minister. If I seen a private soldier, I'd be like, "Salam Allah, peace God." That was my God. I answer a prayer, he's going to answer my prayer. He broke, he going to come to me. I'm broke, I'm going to go to my brother. You broke, if you knew in the jail, the FOI would be like, "Oh no, bro, we got a charity fund. We got a New World Treasury. We got money on all these blocks. We got stores. We do what we got to do." We ain't going to get into what we had to do, but we did what we had to do. We ran that jail. We was getting paper. So brothers walking around with, instead of $15 and that, but they walking around with like, when they took me to the OR, I had like $2,000 to give you some idea. We wearing Rolexes, the satin, the silk, the gold, the long chains. Now, I mean, that's how we moving in the belly of the beast. I mean, we had our Stacey Adams, our lizards, our gators, whatever. Now, I mean, we sitting, my wife getting the diamond tennis bracelets from the penitentiary. She getting the 2-carat rings, you know what I mean, in the visitor room. She wasn't spooky either. I don't mess with spooky people. I don't like spooky people. I mean, that's why I don't soldier with 99% of the so-called believers in this day and time. You know what I mean? But the real ones, the ones that live, build, kill, and die for the life-giving teachings of Elijah Muhammad, that's what level we was on. So this Holy Qur'an verse, we took this to heart. Chapter 8, verse 41. "And know that whatever you acquire in war, a fifth or 20% of it is for Allah and for the messenger and for the near of kin and the orphans and the needy and the wayfarer, if you believe in the law and in that which he revealed to our servant on the day of discrimination, the day on which the two parties met, and the law is possessor of power over all things." It goes on in verse number 43. "When the law showed them to thee in thy dream as few." See, a lot of people, they like a lot of FOIs in MGT that soldier now, you see them all crack front ration posts, crack FOI uniforms, they fit the teachings, woo bang. That's beautiful. But what happens after the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan gives his swan song? What happens after the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is no longer in our midst? Minister Jeremiah is no longer here. Silas Muhammad is no longer here. Farrakhan is no longer. Malcolm X is no longer here. 98% of them return right back to the grave. Because they never really established the God in the mirror, the goddess in the mirror. They was caught up on the messenger and not the message. Farrakhan don't want us caught up on him. He needs us to focus on his message. He needs us to be self-believers, self-leaders, to see God or Goddess in the mirror, to take charge of our post and all temple properly in view. Okay? Verse 43 again. When the Lord showed them to thee in thy dream as few, meaning, you know, a lot of people like the easy road. Now, I mean, let's go downhill. We ain't trying to fight the uphill battle. Now, I mean, we rather fight somebody we know we can beat. We get tough with guys that is smaller than us. It's like a psychological thing. You know what I mean? The man waiting on the bus stop, he's 6'1", 190 pounds, solid muscle. The guy walked past, he's 5'4", $140, soaking wet. He stepped on his new Air Jordans. Oh man, you stepped on my phone. Okay. You know, let's leave it here or there. But put that same man in that position again. And let Suge Knight come walking by with a size 15 foot, 300 pounds, 6'7", all muscle, step on that same sneak. Would you respond the same? That shows if you doing it because the individual in your perception is a weak individual, or you consider yourself a strong individual where you're like, I don't care about how big, how small, how rich, how poor, how black, how white, how powerful, how many numbers, who in the car with them, whatever. See, that was one of the things that I literally had to change with the FOI. See, when I first joined the nation, fruit would jump you. Like in the belly of the beast, if something happened, the brothers will rush you. I'm from North Philly. We don't do all that. Like, nah, man, I mean, we ain't gonna jump. I mean, 5 of us on him, that ain't fair. The fruit taught us to give our brother a fair one. We like, hold up. Y'all go ahead and rumble. Hold up, stop the fight. A car coming. Let the car go through. Let people get back to work, whatever. All right, now y'all go ahead and finish. Come on, he capped my eye, bust my lip, I bust his nose. Woo. After, we shake hands. We had a fair one. We ain't going to the mat. We ain't shooting each other. It's like, we rumbled. We cool now. I mean, we best of friends now. Now, I mean, I moved down 12th Street. 2 days of moving down there, and one night I had to rumble Stephen Wesley, Tracy Smith, Darryl Earp, Harold, I forgot his last name. I rumbled Harold, and honestly, I whipped all the ass except for the nerd dude. The nerd dude, Tracy Smith, who's doing a life sentence now. Shout out to Smitty, who, you know, in the 40 years later, I was Ace Money. We had the full deck gang and all that off our old heads. But he was Trey, or 3. But he used to wear like thick bottle cap glasses. Like he plays football games, nodding his head real quick because his glasses were so thick. But he was like one of them big muscle-bound country dudes. I'm from North Philly. I'm like the cane glow, little jewelry, fly guy. You know what I mean? You know, Adidas, fresh shell tops, fronting. You know what I mean? So I'm fighting him. I learned to box from the fruit. I lived on, I was born on 1500 block of Hazard Street. You know what I mean? So we're literally like around the corner from Joe Frazier's gym. So we knew how to box. That's how we come up. We know how to hold our hands in North Philly. You know what I mean? This before the young boys just start shooting first and asking questions later. But we used to rumble back there. Give you a fair. We go to the gym, in the street, whatever. We put the gloves on. You know what I mean? But I'm looking at this dude like, okay, he got the real tiny nappy head, like a short haircut, but it's all peasy. He got the thick nerd glasses on. He got the high top Adidas tied up super tight. These corny behind pants on and this tight behind tank top. But he's like buffed up. I'm like, man, I'd knock this dude out with one hand. You know what I mean? So we rumbling. And I'm doing my pretty stuff. You know what I mean? And this dude is like one of my, I would say, one of his punches equal 5 of my punches. That's how hard this dude is hitting. You know what I mean? But I'm Ace Money. I got a front. You know what I mean? He's like, I got to knock this dude out. So I'm doing my praise. Bang, bang, bang. But he catching me. Boom, boom, bang. And he hit me in my forehead. This is like I would say like 82, somewhere around there. You know what I mean? 90, 2000. This is like 40 years ago, and I still remember this ass whooping. This is how bad he whipped my ass for real, for real. I just couldn't admit it. He hit me. Boom! I'm literally not completely out on my feet, but my pride and my ego is not going to let me go out. Nah, you know what I mean? You can't let this dude. I'm from North Philly. These dudes is up in the suburbs. Port Nolly back then was like, we had yellow canaries flying around. This was like paradise. I mean, from where I came from. Now, I mean, I came from 16 from Westmoreland back to up there. Now, I mean, so when he hit me, boom, I'm out. But I shake it off, boom. So he hit me so hard, I felt myself really blacking out, so I couldn't black out, so I grip him. Boom! So he's like, get off me. So I talked to him. I'm like, nah, Joker, why you? I don't know, remember what I said. I said some fly stuff, but he went for the crap. I mean, he should have just knocked me. If he would have hit me with an uppercut, a gut shot, a face shot, I would have been on the ground with a busted head out. You know what I mean? I probably would have had a scar on my face to this day. You know what I mean? From that behind whipping. But he had me. But he wasn't the brightest marble in the deck. He was a nerd. So I was able to outfox him and spare myself. You know what I mean? And me and him literally became like best friends after that. I mean, that was me, him, and his cousin Tony from North Philly. We did all kind of stuff together years later. You know what I mean? That was. But he's a thorough dude. You know what I mean? I got him the fly haircuts, the tapes, the Nike Air Force Ones. You know what I mean? You know, the girls. So you know, we all used to roll together. But he really had me, and I told him, yeah, I said, listen, man. You knocked me out. I was out on my feet. You just didn't follow up. But you had me. But we knew he was the cock diesel one. So when we go on route or something, you know what I mean? We go for police, all that. We stake out the banks, see them at the big window, see the boy go to the joint, get the big knot of money in the envelope, put it in his joint. He the one that grip him up. Boom! Little tone go in the pocket. I come sweep that feet from him. Boom! Bang! We taking that. We off. You know what I mean? But my man Trey was that boy like that. You know what I mean? And years later, you know, we had a lot of fun together. You know what I mean? A lot of tragedy. You know what I mean? But a lot of fun together. A lot of stupid stuff. You know what I mean? But a lot of fun together. You know what I mean? That was definitely my heart. You know what I mean? But we like to take the easy fight. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to fight somebody that could beat you. You want to fight somebody that you can beat. But the law supremacy at the island was like, nah. I mean, when the law showed them to thee and thy dream is few, meaning like you be like, what? Oh, them boys want to see us? Oh, it's, you know, this time now it's 40 fees. It's 40 of us. If the boys on such and such street, I guess they like 9 deep. We going down there deep, 40 deep. Yo, you looking for what? No, what's up? But it'd be like, yo, the mother boys want to see y'all. Oh, so-and-so and them looking for y'all. It's like, hold up. They like 100 deep. We like 40 deep. They got guns, knives. They kill people. They them real gangster boys. Now, we fronting. Our hearts is, they not a few. So in nature, the pretenders and defenders got to understand, as the message said, this message is not for the cowards. So when the law showed them to thee and thy dream is few, and if he had shown them to thee as many, you would certainly have become weak-hearted. Your hearts would have melted. your punk behind would have been like, oh no, I'm not being Muslim. And you would have disputed about the matter. But Allah Salam, that's the Arabic. Allah Salam. A lot of people say Allah saved. No, the Arabic word there is Allah Salam. Allah saved you. Surely He is knower of what is in the breast or the subconscious mind. The Holy Quran explains, and obey Allah, and this is verse, in fact, I'm going to go up some, because the Quran reveals success does not depend on numbers. Chapter 8, verse 45, 46, and 47, and 48. I could go on and on, but actually, because there's a lot of crack stuff about the angels in here, but we're going to keep it simple. Verse 45 of chapter 8. Success does not depend on numbers. Section 6. This, we use the Maulana Muhammad Ali Quran translation for those of you that don't know the Arabic. Alright. O you who believe, when you meet an army, be firm and remember Allah much, that you may be successful. You gotta stay God conscious. Black man is God. If they stab me up, they shoot me down, boom, 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 boom. I'm not dying. Physically, I'm a transform, but this literature, this mind lives on because it never was born. So when you understand Allah, you fear no one but Allah. You respect no one or no thing but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not some ghost spooking spirit, but that dude, that sister in the mirror. Okay? And obey Allah and His messenger, and dispute not one with another. See that spooky stuff? There you go. That's that doubt. Don't let doubt enter in the ranks. Don't let divine, Yaku's law, divine and conquer come into the teachings. That's what's going on right now. They pit Farrakhan against Salas, the father-in-law against the Afrocentric, and we were arguing, fighting, and killing each other, and the devil's still ruling when his time is completely up. And obey Allah and His messenger, and dispute not one with another, lest you get weak-hearted, and your power depart. Your power depart. And be steadfast. Surely the law is with the steadfast. See, it doesn't mean if you're righteous. You could be righteous or wicked. We's hustling, making it happen. Know what I mean? And the opposition couldn't find a weak link. So we was good. We was successful. Even doing dirt. I mean, Donald Trump is a known pathological liar. Qur'An is known to be bullcrap. But that stuff still works because they are steadfast. They don't allow their supporters to break rank. And that's how you can vibrate, no matter what you're trying to do. Verse 47, and be not like those who came forth from their homes exultingly and to be seen of men, and they hinder people from the way of Allah. See, a lot of people like to show off. Oh, we got a big crowd. Look at us. We got a whole bunch of numbers. Look how big our temple is. How big our masjid. Look all this money I got. This is. It's like the wolves, the street dudes is like, is this dude really showing his bunny on Instagram? it's like, see, y'all come up in a totally different hip hop era. When I was coming up, you're not coming in my hood in no Lexus or Rolls Royce with the ice all on. It's like, man, I'll be on to like, yo, my man, what is you doing? You're going to disappear. You're going to vanish. You know what I mean? Everything you have is going to vanish. Is you crazy? You know what I mean? You have the poor, the needy, the wayfarer. You can't be eating and showing off thinking it's sweet like that in the hood. Nah, I don't go like that, homie. You know what I mean? Now, if you hustling, if you're a legitimate businessman, whatever you doing, if you giving something back, we got your back. You could come in the hood in a Rolls Royce. Ain't nobody touching that car. My old head on my block on 12th Street, Mr. Art. You know what I mean? He was that boy. He the OG old head. You know what I mean? And I remember years ago, he had some OGs come over his house, and he invited me because he liked me to come over to watch HBO, a HBO fight. Back then, HBO was real rare. We couldn't afford HBO, but he had HBO in this house. So he's like, listen, young boy, I mean, you could bring 2 of your homies with you. Y'all could come over and watch the fight, boo, bam. I'm like, yeah, okay, go ahead, boo, bam. And we're in the crib watching the fight, and his homies, his entourage is pulling up. They pulling up in like Cadillacs, whatever. This is like 1982 sometime. They pulling up in real nice cars, brand new stuff. Jumping out clean, head to toe. They OGs for real, for real. Somebody bust one of the old head's windows, broke his glove compartment open, stole a little weed and took some tapes or whatever the case may be. So he on the tip like, it's disrespect. You know what I mean? And I know these old heads. They gonna find out. But I was like, this block, I got this block. You know what I mean? Y'all fall back. Let me and my homies hit these streets. We're gonna find out where that stuff at and bring it back to y'all. We hit the bricks, handle that, chastise something, and brought all the stuff back. They respected that. You know what I mean? They respected that. So the spoils of war should not spoil us. You know what I mean? There's rules to the game. You know what I mean? If I can't stand my old heads, if my old head punched me in my chest, I could beat his behind, but I respect him because he's my old head. He could get away with that. You couldn't get away with that. But we have respect for people's fathers, people's mothers. You know what I mean? It's like we do our dirt, but our thing was, you don't rob the old lady on the block. You don't harm the people in the hood. You don't burglarize. Nah, you go downtown and hustle. You know what I mean? Rob them rich folks. Go down, you know what I mean? The Fifth and Lindley. That's the mentality we had from the conscious FOIs and MGTs in our midst. They help keep the mayat, or the balance of peace, truth, freedom, justice, and equality, and why the spoils of war. Remember, Surah 8 or chapter 8, that there is a sign, ayat or verse number 41. And know that whatever you acquire in war, that means any money that you receive that you didn't work for, you know what I mean? Money that you found, money that you inherited, money that you hustled for, money that was given to you as an inheritance. A fifth of it is for Allah and for the messenger and for the near of kin and the orphans and the needy and the wayfarer. If you believe in Allah and in that which He revealed to our servant on the day of discrimination, the day on which the two parties met, and Allah is possessor of power over all things. Peace and blessings, family. I'm your brother in the struggle. I'll leave.